Last year, 7 billion people boarded some 35 million flights. However, just 2 centuries ago, men and women were strapping wings to their arms, called ornithopters. Today, you could fly from Chicago to Sydney, Australia in just 24 hours, and that's including the layovers. But before 1780, taking a trip that distance would have taken months, while possibly having a fatal outcome as a result. So how did we go from mimicking the way birds fly to boarding metal aircraft that weigh 360,000 pounds, fly at 30,000 feet at 500 knots? Innovation, imagination, some stupidity, and a lot of genius. I began flying planes recreationally when I was 16 and have been fascinated ever since. To get a better understanding of planes, I began researching their history through lots of reading the books and the internet. The history of man flying is quite extensive, so to explain this topic simply, I will share with you the key elements that made modern aviation what it is today. Let's start with hot air balloons. Two French brothers, Joseph and Jacques-Étienne Montgolfier, invented what you would call today's hot air balloon. The first demonstration was in Annonay, France on June 4th, 1783. Flight flew up to 6,500 feet. Their second demonstration had passengers. This took place on September 19th, 1783, in front of King Louis XVI, Marie Antoinette, and the French court. Flight lasted for about 8 minutes. Their passengers was a sheep, a duck, and a rooster. 1 month later, October 15, 1783, first manned balloon flight took place. The two pilots were Pilart de Rosière and Marquis de Arlanz. Now, the balloons still had their complications. They had to fly in only the direction of the wind, and they were highly unsafe. The next big step in aviation was the gliders, as you can see here. This stage of aviation took place from 1799 to 1850. The main player in this stage of aviation was Sir George Cayley. He's also known as the father of aviation. He was the innovator of lift and drag, wing design, vertical tail surfaces, steering rudders. Now, most of you think that the Wright brothers were the first to fly. Well, I found otherwise. So George Cayley recruited a 15-year-old boy to man his first flyable glider. The boy's name may not have gone down in history, but the boy went down in history as the first pilot of this manner. Now, gliders themselves still had issues. They were not powered. Because of that, you still had to have some wind, and the gliders themselves were also very unsafe. From the 1850s to the 1900s, brave aeronauts kept making innovations after innovation. Two of these were the propeller and the engines. Alas, there was a leap in humankind, one that would change the history of the way we live forever. An aircraft was made. The Wright brothers used their extensive research from all the previous innovators to make their design. They called their plane the Flyer, and it took off on December 17th at 10:35 a.m. 1903 from Big Kill Devil Hill, North Carolina. Orville piloted this 605-pound plane, flew 126 feet in 12 seconds. It was the first controlled, powered, heavier-than-air machine to fly. And alas, humankind is able to fly from here on out. Today, there are nearly 16,000 kinds of aircraft. They carry millions of people all over the globe. They can weigh from a few thousand to 360,000 pounds. Aircraft can fly in any type of weather, and every year their safety is continuously improved. Through this speech, I've discussed where modern planes have come from. I've talked about how men were so innovative that they could look at a bird and say, I can do that too. They've passed on this innovation from generation to generation, and because of it, we now can fly from Chicago to Australia in 24 hours.